Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Friday as we have breached the monthly open at 47,000 US dollars. And it looks like Bitcoin wants to come and test this previous resistance of structure, which is sitting just between the weekly open and monthly open. And I want to address the fact that now that we're seeing some weakness in the price action, and we still have low volume, this tells me that the path of least resistance is going to be sideways to a little bit higher. And that even if we start to come down towards this structural support and it doesn't hold, we do have this weekly open at 46,000 as a potential level to see some volume. But if we don't see that volume come in, there is a potential that we could be seeing Bitcoin come back down below 44,000 US dollars and potentially try to test some lower levels inside of this range if this truly does not act as a level where we could find some buyers. And really, we want to see some volume at this point because we did a volume analysis on our channel when we first came down here on the 7th, and we determined there were more sellers than buyers. And we have yet to see buyers equate to the amount of sellers that took Bitcoin from the $50,000 top back down below the $44,800 level, pretty much clearing the range to 41,950, telling me that if we actually do come and break this level with the weekly open at 46,000, it could be a pretty violent move to the downside that could potentially take us below 40,000 US dollars and test this other previous resistance from structure when Bitcoin initially came down to 30,000 US dollars, and that's sitting at the $36,500 level. So the reason the $46,000 level is significant where we have the weekly open is because that could open the door to 38,000 to 36,500. So I want to make that extremely clear. When it comes to the upside at this point, we want to see some strength here at the monthly open. We're at 47,000 and we have yet to see strength here. And the monthly open is a very big level, and for us not to see volume here right now tells me that there is a concern. Now, when it comes to structural pattern, we do have this flag. We could consider this a bullish flag on an hourly chart. And if this does not break out to 49,700, that's a very big sign of weakness to me, because this is a bullish pattern forming these lower highs and then forming these lower lows after an initial move to the upside. And if this fails, that's also a major puzzle piece. So I want you guys to realize that we're at a very critical point here at the monthly open. I had to get this video out since we were sitting at 47,000 and actually wicked all the way down to 46,750 already, just $750 shy of this weekly open, where it is going to be the make it or break it for the Snipers channel here. And if we break 46,000, I am expecting potentially the $36,500 level for Bitcoin. So the other interesting thing about all of this is that Ethereum is doing a lot worse than Bitcoin, down 4%, about 5% at this point, and the Ethereum Bitcoin chart also down 3.66%, and we broke 3454, and this was an extremely important level. I told you guys we don't want to get below this level, and this is coming towards the thesis that we're expecting altcoins to not perform as good as Bitcoin if we're going to see any downside in this next cycle. And that is because Bitcoin dominance is what we're assuming is going to start coming above its 20-week moving average and seeing some upside towards the 200-week moving average. And so if that truly is the case, and with Bitcoin dominance above the weekly open right now, this could have potentially have been the double bottom that we've been looking for to match the DXY, which is an extremely correlated chart, and assume that Bitcoin dominance is ready to move up above the 20-week moving average at 46% dominance, but more importantly towards the 50 to 57% dominance range. And if that happens, I would only assume this could happen if we're seeing some continued downside in this market, because you have to attach a narrative to the price action. Technicals are only 10%. Fundamentals are another 10%. 80% is psychology, but the fundamentals do matter. And so the narrative that I would assume is that the market's overall total valuation has topped out at the let's say $6 trillion level in May, and we came up, formed a lower high. This was good for altcoins, but we failed to find new highs, and that could potentially signal, after a 19% drop in Bitcoin, that this right here is the start of another move to the downside. But guess what? Yes, this move to the downside did affect altcoins and they bled, but most of them recovered. If we come down a second time, this chance of recovery becomes a lot less likely for those specific altcoins because 90% of them won't be here in 5 years. And so that's why there's a season for altcoins. And I told you guys that altcoin season wasn't over. Even though they were bleeding out initially, they came back up and they outperformed Bitcoin. But now I'm changing the storyline because all I'm doing is looking at the DXY and telling myself, this is an extremely correlated chart to Bitcoin dominance. It's double bottomed, and Bitcoin dominance has not formed any lows below the May low that it's created. As much as people are saying altcoins are doing well, Bitcoin has maintained itself dominant since May in terms of market structure. And so if this starts to move up, that assumes price of the total market cap is coming down, the valuation, and that could bring down the prices for altcoins. So I just, started to scream, but I just want to be more intentional with what we're talking about here because, I saw a lot of mean comments, I guess you could say, when Bitcoin broke the monthly open at 47,000, say, oh, Naeem said that was the make it or break it, and it came above. Yeah, but that's the same thing that happened at 49,700. I kept saying this was the level, and yes, cool, we got above, but then we saw the move. Timing is the hardest thing to predict in a market. So the fact of the matter is we're on the right path so far, and that's why Ethereum is down 4 or 5% today, and Bitcoin's down 1% or 2%. That doesn't just happen this often in a real bull market to see these fluctuations of volatility, especially when we've yet to form any further highs for Bitcoin. And so, I'm being the umpire, and all I'm saying is we have to really monitor what Bitcoin wants to do, because if it starts to move to the downside, that could be a point in which altcoins are going to bleed. And if you haven't already adjusted your portfolio and rebalanced your positions, the time is really coming to an end here soon. Because as soon as Bitcoin sees a downside move, we've already cleared all the volume here. That intensity could really be, quite unexpected for most people. And so, I think that it's interesting to see what's happening right now to Bitcoin. So Ethereum below 3454 to me is a concern. And with this being below 3454, that opens the door to 1980, 40% downside. Think about all this volume that was accumulated between 3,000 and 3,500. If we stay below this major support, this volume is not going to be there anymore. And so that's how this range would open up. If we can get back above 3454, Bitcoin would need to get above 47,000 and start its way back towards 49,700. Because just notice how Ethereum is becoming weaker and weaker as we see these downside moves, and that's what happens. That's why it's down 4% right now. And so this chart, I don't know what pattern to call this, but it is a very volatile chart for Ethereum to Bitcoin, but it is a very important chart. And that's why we keep it simple on this channel. We have these major levels. I'm just watching 65,000 Satoshis here. It can do whatever it wants between 65,000 and 86,000. But the fact of the matter is, what we saw with Ethereum to the Bitcoin is nothing to go home and tell grandma about over this last, run, because we did not exceed the May highs of Ethereum being more dominant or performing against Bitcoin, which means that other altcoins are going to follow Ethereum being the largest altcoin. And so that's leading indicator that we've been talking about. And then lastly, what I want to cover with the crypto market, and then we'll go into some revolving parts to complete the 4-dimensional part of the analysis here on the channel, is notice how this altcoin chart that excludes Ethereum and Bitcoin, it looks like it's ready to double top. Very similar to what the total cryptocurrency market cap looks like. So this failing to form new highs is a puzzle piece. And so it looks weaker, and this is what we've been expecting. So I don't know if we timed it perfectly, but it's interesting to see this stuff play out. DXY is pushing up today. That's what's causing the red. This is not that bad of a range for the DXY, but it's obviously having its effect. So imagine if we get above 93.82, that's what I'll be monitoring here. It's a slower chart. If we can start to see some cool off here, it could buy us more time. Gold coming back down to this market structure, not really moving at this point. We can't call it bullish or bearish, I guess. It really failed to take advantage of this momentum when it recently broke out above 1800. So I'm going to put that back inside of the bookshelf for now. International markets, pretty much Japan saw some strength, but China and Europe are lagging and actually seeing weakness. S&P 500 is coming below the 50-day moving average. That's a pretty big deal. We have not come, to this level often, and every time we have, we've seen a very quick reaction. So let's see if we're going to see this sort of quick reaction here soon. If not, this is what we want to monitor, this 100-day moving average, saying right at that 43.30 for the S&P 500. So thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. I hope you enjoyed today's analysis. I know it was a little intense, but I had some comments, and I wanted to speak, towards that audience, I guess. Once again, timing is the hardest thing to predict in the market. The point is understanding what we're looking for. That's what matters. What are we looking for? Direction is more important than speed. And with that, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem El Abeidi. Until next time, Snipers out.